given like 6 questions for the 300 level above. For the POP, you can be given like 5 questions or 6 questions, and you'll be told to answer 2, answer 3, answer 4. So that is for their own. But the ones we are doing now is the E exam, which is the 100 level and 200 level, which is going to start by June, by God's grace. And for this exam, it is a multiple choice exam. Here we have the objective and the subjective, also called fill in the gap. The objective will be having options A to D, A to C, sometimes A to E. While for the fill in the gap, it doesn't have options. An example, this is a dash. That is how it's going to be. And it will tell you to type in your answer there according to the course material, or according to majorly according to the course material. That is what you are going to follow. So that is for the CBT, for the filling the gap. And we should take note of that. There are places we need to use full stop, places you need to use question mark, places you need to use hyphen, places you need to use capital letter, small letter. All these things are supposed to take note of them and put them in mind. So that's for that, for the filling the gap. So that is what makes up the E exam, which is for 100 level and 200 level. And past questions, summaries, the course materials, all of these are needed. All of these are needed for you to be able to participate. So today we are going to be taking another unit entirely, which is the assessment of non-examinable courses. Assessment of non-examinable courses. And under this is where we are going to be looking at the courses that are not examinable in National Open University. Yes, there are courses that are not examinable, courses that they have no exam, non-examinable courses. So under these are the courses where all this IT, our projects, our CWS. It is not something we are going to do now, but once you start to get to 200 level, to 300 level, to 400 level, you start doing all those courses. And for some of us that are doing practical is an examinable course because it's still having an exam. So practical is having an exam. That one is still an examinable course. But this IT or CWS, we call it IT, we call it CWS. Practicum for all these health science students, practical, seminars, field trip, all of these courses that has no exam. This is what we are going to be dealing with. This is what we are going to be talking about under this unit. So this course is just for us to get familiar with how the school, with how National Open University runs, with how distance learning runs, how they connect their school stuff, how everything goes. This is the importance of this course. So let's go into the course. Let's look at the introduction of the course. So let's look at the introduction. So let's look at the meaning of these non-examinable courses. This explanation I'm going to be giving tonight is going to be in a very simplified way, so that we are going to be able to understand them like very simple, like in a very simple way. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not going to be, it might not be according to what you've read on the course material, but it's still the same thing. Just for us to be able to understand it very well. So that is what I'm going to be doing. So for these non-examinable courses, the meaning is that non-examinable courses are courses that are not written in the normal examination or format. So in non-examinable courses, they are just courses that they are not written in the normal examination or format like GST or regular semester exams. Instead, students are assessed through practical performance, through your reports, through your presentations, through observations by supervisors, through field work, through project and seminars. So look at this from practical performance to project and seminars. These are the examples of non-examinable courses that we are talking about. So non-examinable courses, they are basically courses that are not written in the normal examination or format, like GSTs or regular semester exams. So all these non-examinable courses, they are just courses that has no exam. They have no exam. All you need to do is you need to just go through the practical process. So your practical performance is going to be recorded for you. You need to do a report. For an example, a field trip for people that are doing tourism studies or international relations. A field trip, this is what they do. They will go to a particular location. They might go to Badagry. I think the last one they went to Badagry to look at all these our ancient buildings and the rest. Then after they are done with that, they told them to do a report. You do that report, burn it inside a CD, submit it as your report. That is what they are going to use to grade you. That's an example of a non-examinable courses. I'm not writing an exam for it. Presentations also. Yeah, this might be in form of seminar. For people in 300, for people in 400 level, you're told to do a seminar. After before you submit your seminar document, you have to present it. The question you be asked, you have to, everything that is inside that document you want to present, you have to say them to the HOD, to the external supervisors. Everybody will be there with some of your classmates or some of your colleagues. You'll be there to express yourself, to present what is inside your document. Then another one is the observation by supervisors. Yeah, this one is your IT. Then you have the field work, also pertaining to the field trip for biology students mostly, that the ones that go for all this field work or all this nursing. Then project and seminars too. So all of these, they are non-examinable courses. They have no exam, so we should take note of them. For an example, the same way practical courses in our 100 level like CIT, all this chemistry 191, physics 191, the same way they don't have TMA, but them they have exam, but then they don't have TMA. That is how it is for these courses also. But these courses, they don't have TMA, they don't have exam. So these courses help students to gain real life experience and practical skills related to their profession. So these courses now, it helps students to gain real life experience and practical skills related to their profession. Let's take for an example this IT that we are doing. Get to 300 level, you have to do your IT, and if you want to participate, or before you participate in that IT, a computer science student for an example, you need to look for a place whereas you need to look for an organization or a company whereas everything they are dealing with is computer related, and you are going to use 6 months there. So in those 6 months that you are using there is no way you are not going to be able to gain a real life experience. There's no way you will not be able to actually gain some practical skills, because in your 6 months you are doing something related to your computer science. Maybe in there you are doing maybe you are working with a computer, they are teaching you how to use, how to on, how to operate a computer. Maybe they are teaching you how to code, maybe they are teaching you how to use Microsoft Word, maybe they are various of things. So you are learning and you are gaining. So and examples in now is your research project, your CWS, practicum, teaching practice, seminar, laboratory practicals. So all of these are examples of these non-examinable courses in National Open University. So these are very important because a student cannot graduate without successfully completing them. So this is another. Sherry Jen, what's the issue? Why are you raising up your hand? Alright, so these are very important because as a student you cannot graduate without successfully completing them. So these non-examinable courses are very important to the extent that if you did not do them, the school will not graduate you. So it's a must that you do your practical, it's a must that you do your seminar, it's a must that you do your COS, it's a must that you do your project before you be able to graduate. And even all these non-examinable courses, they are the ones that carry the highest units. An example, project is like 6 units. So imagine you failing it, imagine you having like E in your project. It's going to reduce your CGP a lot because it's a 6 units course. Imagine you having E in your COS, which is also a 6 units course. It's going to reduce your CGP. So that is why these non-examinable courses are very important in National Pre-University. So let's continue. Let's look at the assessment of the research project. The assessment of this research project. So every final year undergraduate student in NOU must carry out a research project before graduation. So a research project is a careful and systematic study carried out to solve a problem or answer questions. So we are talking about a research project. The research project is a final year course that every NOU student must take. Your 400 level second semester, you must register your project. It is a must and you must do it before you graduate. That is when you pick a topic, pick 3 topics, you submit it at your faculty. They are going to give you one and give you a supervisor, and you have to write from chapter 1 to chapter 5. It might take like 3 months, it might take like 4 months, it might take like 5 months for you to complete it. Some are even using 1 year, but the earlier the better. So you as a final year student, every final year student must actually provide that project. You must submit it to your faculty. It must be graded before graduation, because even after the graduation they will still ask you to bring that project. So this research project is a careful and systematic study that is carried out to solve a problem or answer questions. So an example of this is a student in business admin may research for what? The effect of social media marketing on small businesses in Lagos. This is an example of a topic that you can write on as a business admin student. It is called a research project because you need to research to get your content, you need to research to get the details of what you want to put in your project, and your details must be original to avoid you repeating yourself, to avoid your supervisor sending you back to go and do another thing again and bring it. So that is why this research project is very important. Another example is a student in education may research for impact of online learning on secondary school students in Abuja. So this is another example of a research project topic. You are a student under the educational department, then you pick a topic to research on what the impact of online learning in secondary school students in Abuja. So that's an example for that. So let's go to the structure of a research project. For this research project that we are talking about, that is among the non-examinable courses that I said, if you did not complete this, you cannot graduate. Let's look at the structure of it. So the reason behind all of this is for us to be well oriented for this project topic. So be well oriented for this non-examinable courses, so that it should not be as if it's a new thing to us when we come across it. So that is why this course material is actually telling us the types of these non-examinable courses and what they comprises of. So the structure of the research project. What does the research project contain? If you are given a project to do, what do you need to do? What are the kind of chapters you need to create? That is what we want to look at. So structure of a research project is a standard National Open University project contains 5 chapters. So a standard project for now contains 5 chapters. It must be 5 chapters. So from the first one, chapter 1, which is the introduction. So chapter 1 is the introduction. Before the chapter 1, yeah, there's going to be an acknowledgement, dedication, abstract, table of contents. That one is not part of this, although it has to be there. But the main structure of a research project must start from chapter 1, which is the introduction. So this chapter introduced the research problem. This is the chapter that introduced the research problem. And the content that is always in this chapter is what? Number 1, you have the background to the study. That is the first content that used to be under this chapter 1. It's just as if you want to write a letter. You want to write a formal letter now. It must have 2 address. It must have a title. It must start with a greeting before the body, before the conclusion, before yours faithfully. So for the content of this chapter 1 now, it must start with what? Background to the study. It must start with background to the study. And under this background to the study, it must explain the topic generally. It must be able to explain the topic generally. So an example is what? A student discussing unemployment may explain how employment affects Nigerian youth. An example of this background to be studied is a student now that is discussing unemployment may explain how unemployment affects Nigerian youth. You have a topic that you want to write on, or you have been given a topic that you want to write on. How do you write on this topic? How do you write on them? Under the background to the study, you're trying to explain how unemployment may affect, how it may affect Nigerian youth. Is under the background study. So you're trying to give reasons, you're trying to give a background study, what we need to study. You're trying to explain the topic generally on how all this unemployment can affect Nigerian youth. It will be under the background study. So that is for the chapter 1. And let's look at the second content under this introduction. Statement of the problem. So this will be the second content under the chapter 1. Statement of the problem. So this explains the exact issue the researcher wants to solve. This explains the exact issue that the researcher wants to solve. This is the statement of the results. You're giving a problem definition that this is the cost of so. This is what we need to do for so. So you're trying to explain the exact issue the researcher wants to solve. That is for the statement of the problem. And under the example, many graduates in Nigeria remain unemployed despite having degree. Many graduates in Nigeria remain unemployed despite having degree. This is just a problem definition. You're trying to state that many graduates in Nigeria, they remain unemployed despite having degree. You are defining the problem that you want to tackle. You are defining the problem that you want to research on. So let's go to the third one, which is the research questions / hypothesis. Research question / hypothesis. So questions the research aims to answer. Under this content is the questions that the research aims to answer. The project is just like you trying to solve a problem. You trying to do a write-up for something that can be interpreted and that can be useful. It's just like you're writing a manual for something you want to create. Let's say you want to create an app, and you want to create an application to actually solve headache. Now you're creating a manual, a guide for people to be able to use that app to solve headache. That is what this research project means. So you're trying to make a research and turn it to a project, like whereas people that will read that document or people that will read your project, they will be able to make use of it in their real life situation. So you have to give a background study, at the same time you give a statement of the problem. Then now you are going to give a research questions or hypothesis. Questions the research aims to answer. These are questions the research aims to answer. Those questions are not answered yet, but they are questions that while you are writing the project, we are going to find answer to them in your content. An example is, does social media improve small business skills? Another one, does online learning affect academic performance? So all of these are just research questions that they are going to be answered inside the project. So why the fourth one is purpose. Purpose/objective of the study. You explaining what the researcher wants to achieve. The purpose. What is the purpose of that project? What is the purpose of the topic? What is the objective the topic is carrying? So you're trying to explain what the researcher wants to achieve. It should be under the purpose and objective of the study. You are writing a project. Then number 5, the significance of the study. Significance of the study. Under the significance of the study is you explaining who will benefit from the research. So this is another content under this chapter 1, which is the introduction. You are just trying to introduce this project to anybody that is going to read it. Okay, let's say you are trying to introduce this project to your supervisor that wants to go through it. Like, yeah, this is what I will be talking about in this project. Everything that you need to talk about, you are trying to align them out. That is why there's going to be a table of contents in a project. That is the usefulness of table of content in a project. So you're trying to state out what you intend to do, the problem you intend to solve, people that will benefit from this your research. An example is what? Students, teacher, maybe government, maybe business owners. Let's say you are a business admin student and you want to write about a small scale business. People that will be benefiting from your project are going to be business owners or entrepreneurs or majorly business oriented people. So people that are going to benefit from your project. Then it's continuation. Let's continue. So number 6 is going to be what? The scope and the limitation. We are still under the chapter 1, which is the introduction. So we are talking about what that are going to be, what are supposed to be under chapter 1 if you want to write a project. We are talking about the non-examinable courses in National Open University. For those of us that are joining now, that is what we are talking about. The topic is on the non-examinable courses in National Open University. It's courses that has no exam, that has no test. And we are talking about project, the research project. This course is not something you are going to do now, but it's something you are still going to do, and it's something you must do before you graduate your 400 level. But this course is a study guide for distance learners. So everything under this course is just to prepare our mind for the things that we are going to come across, for the things that we are going to see in our journey in this institution. That is why this course is very compulsory. Even though you are a direct entry student, this course is compulsory for you. You might not do every other courses in your 100 level, but the NOU107 is a compulsory course that is going to be added to your course, because it's talking about how you are going to survive in this institution. So number 6, which is the scope and delimitation. So this one defines the area covered. So this scope and delimitation, it actually defines the area you are going to cover. Maybe you are going to cover the government area, you are going to cover student areas, teachers areas, business owners areas, market people areas. The kind of areas you want to cover, you should be under this scope and delimitation. So and under this, an example is the study may focus only on Lagos State. As an example. So the study may focus only on Lagos State. You can see some topics that will tell you that an impact of economic inflation in so state, or using a case study in so state. So that is just you, like them giving an area for you to cover. They might say in Yanokwaja area, they might say in Yaba. That is just like a case study for you. So it defines an area you need to deal with. So that is for the scope and delimitation. Line number 7, we have operational definitions of term. Operational definition of term. So this one defines difficult words that is used in the project. So under this section, we are still talking about the chapter 1, which is introduction. So under this section, it defines difficult words that is used in the project. If you can remember, if you read a novel or you read a storybook, at the end of the storybook they are going to write the difficult words and the meaning there. So same thing applicable here. The difficult terms that you use in your project, it defines the difficult words there. That is the purpose of this operational definition of term. So that is the last one under the chapter 1, which is the introduction. So we have 5 chapters. If you want to write a research project, it must be 5 chapters, not 4, not 6, not 7, not 3, 5 chapters. And the first chapter the first chapter is your introduction. So we are going to chapter 2, which is the literature review. This is just like the body. You're writing a letter, address, date, title, greetings, body. So the introduction is just like you introducing what your topic is all about. So from this chapter 2, that is when you start to talk about your topic, which is the body. So the chapter 2 is the literature review, and under this literature review we have other content under them. So this chapter reviews what other scholars have written. Under this chapter 2, which is the literature review, the chapter reviews what other scholars have written. The project you want to write on, there has been some scholars that has written on them, or that has written something connecting to them. So that is why it is called a research project, because you need to make a research. You need to get those details. You need to extract those information that those scholars have written about, and you connect them together to make your own literature review. So the first content under this literature review is theories. We have concepts, we have the previous study. And under these theories now, you need to look for the theories. Let's say you are writing on business management as an example. We have some scholars that has written that has actually defined business management, that has defined business. Some has defined management, some has defined business management altogether. So you need to extract their definitions, extract their theories, combine them together, pick the one that makes sense and that is relating to what you are talking about, and you review them. Then for the concept also, you do the same. So that is for the literature review. An example is a student studying banking fraud may review articles from Nigeria Bank and CBN reports. Can you see that? So a student now, you are writing on fraud, you are writing on banking fraud. Your project title, your project topic is on banking fraud. You can actually do what? Review some articles from Nigeria banks and CBN reports as an example, because they are still connecting to banking fraud. Another example is this chapter shows that the student understand what this existing knowledge. Okay, it's a continuation for that example. So you making use of this example means that what you as a student that is writing a research project, you understand existing knowledge and you're able to make use of what the existing knowledge you're able to extract from them. So that is for the chapter 2, which is the literature review. So why for the chapter 3, that's the methodology, and for this methodology, this explains how the research was carried out. That is for the chapter 3, methodology. It explains how the research was carried out. It includes what? The research design. It includes the population. It includes the sampling method. It includes the instruments like the questionnaires, the interview. It includes what? The method of data analysis. So that is under this methodology. You are trying to explain how your research was carried out. I don't know if some of us have seen anybody, like any student that will just come to you and give you some paper and be like, you should help him to tick some details there. It is called a questionnaire. You have to submit them. You have to give it. You have to take it to a school, or maybe take it. If you are writing about student, take it to school. Allow student to tick it for you. Then you will submit them to your supervisor. That is part of your research project. Those are things we all do when we get to 400 level. So it's just like you preparing your mind for this. So under this chapter 3, you need to include your research design, the population that was covered, the sampling method, the kind of instrument you use, the method of data analysis. So an example is a student may distribute questionnaires to 100 students in Lagos. So you may you can distribute your questionnaire to 100 students in Lagos, maybe in your area. In your area alone, there might be more than 100 students. Maybe instead of using your area, you might go to UNILA, you might go to LASO to go and distribute it. So far you're able to distribute it to a certain amount of students and you're able to note them down and you're able to collect their feedback. So all these details has to be in your project. So let's continue. So let's look at chapter 4. So under this chapter 4, it contains what? The data analysis and discussion. So recording in progress. Data analysis and discussion, that is for the chapter 4. So this chapter presents results that is collected from the research. So after you are done with your research, after you've done your questionnaires, you've submitted them, you've done your method of data analysis, you've used a lot of instruments to make use of the research or to complete your research. Now the results that was collected from those research, which include the table, which include the chart, which include the percentage, the interpretation of the results, all of these here, you are going to gather them together and insert them in under the chapter 4. An example is what? 70% of respondents agree that online learning improves flexibility. That is an example for chapter 4. So why chapter 5, which is the last one? Chapter 5, which is the last one, that one is for the summary, conclusion and recommendation. The summary, the conclusion and recommendation. So under this, we have the summary, like everything, the brief explanation on your entire study, just like a brief summarization of everything you've done here, conjunction to anything. Then for the conclusion, your final decision based on your finding, trying to conclude that after your findings, this is what you discover, this is what we should do, this is what you will do to get this done. Then recommendation, you making a suggestion for improvement. This is what I suggest after all my research about unemployment and employment. This is the kind of recommendation, this kind of suggestion I give to youth, I give to students to do. An example is what government should improve internet access for online learning. Yeah, maybe you are talking about education for online learners, or online learner rather, how to develop it. So you can actually suggest that your government should improve internet access. Our internet should be stable. So that's for the chapter 5. So I said we have 5 chapters if you want to do a research project, from the chapter 1 down to the chapter 5. So let's continue. So let's look at supervisor use, number 4. Sorry for the disconnection. So let's look at how research projects are assessed. How do we assess research projects? How are they assessed? So supervisors use an assessment sheet. And areas that are graded, they include what? Like, this is how the research project are being graded. If you are done with your project and you went ahead to submit it, this is how they are going to grade it. Project is a 6-unit course, so this is how they are going to grade it. That it will be up to 100 mark. The preliminary page, that's 5 mark. Then from the chapter 1, which is your introduction, 15 mark. Your literature review, 10 mark. Your methodology, which is the chapter 3, 20 mark. Your data analysis, which is the chapter 4, another 20 mark. Then for the summary and conclusion, which is the chapter 5, 10 mark. Your references, 10 mark. How you type and your neatness, another 10 mark. All of this what makes up 100 mark. So this is how it works. So that is why if you do your project well, it is very easy for you to get a B, at least B, even if you cannot get A. If you have B is 4 points, and 4 times 6, because it's a 6-unit course, so it's going to boost your CGP. So that is why people used to take non-examinable courses very serious, because it has much units. So let's look at practicum.
Recording in progress.
Let's look at practicum. Practicum is another non-examinable courses, but this practicum, it is the earth science students that used to do them, like this public health, nursing, and this environmental health science students. So they are the one that participate in practicum. So practicum is a short practical training where students observe professional and perform small tasks under supervision. So this practicum is a short practical training where students, you observe professionals and you perform small tasks under supervision. So it is common in education, it is common in nursing, it is common in social work. Instead of them using the word practical, it's still the same thing as practical, but practicum is just like a short practical training. You're going for a training where you observe, like you're going to be observed by professionals. Maybe you're in nursing. Maybe you are a nursing student now. If you want to go for the practicum, you need to look for an hospital to work or a lab. You are going to be supervised. You are going to be observed by professionals there. They are going to tell you. They are going to be the ones to tell you what to do. And you'll be given some small tasks that you have to do. And all these tasks that you are going to be doing, they are going to be monitored and supervised, and they are going to be great for them, because they are going to write a report for you that you bring back to the school, that you'll be graded on. So that is for the practicum. So an example of this is an education student. You observe how teachers teach in the secondary school in Kaduna. Yeah, you are an educational student. Maybe you're under the department of education.
Recording stopped.
And you went to observe how to teach. You are posted in a school, whereas you go there to learn how to teach, or you went there to be to actually learn how to teach. You are going to be supervised by the teachers that are there. They're going to supervise you. They're going to tell you what to do. They're going to give you a small task. They might tell you that go to GS1, go and take them basic science, go to primary 5, go and take them for today. So these are just small tasks for you to perform, and there's going to be reports on them. So let's look at the features of practicum here. So short duration, practicum is a short practical training. Then it is a supervised learning also. You have to be supervised. Then students observe professionals. Students are being observed by the professionals, and the practicum is a more professional, non-examinable courses because you need to put your mind in them, and you're going to be supervised by professionals. So why the fourth one? Students gain practical experiences. So at the end of the practical, you're able to gain what? Practical experiences. You're going to gain experience that are going to be useful for you in real life. So that is for the practical. So the next one we're going to be looking at internship. Internship. I know some of us know the meaning of this internship. So an internship is more intensive than practicum. Internship is more intensive than practicum, because internship is having a longer duration, so it is more intensive than practicum. Practicum is just a short duration. It's something you do in a short time. So let's look at the features of internship. Longer duration. Students work almost like staff. If you are an intern, you work almost like a staff, and you have more responsibilities, and sometimes you get paid. That is for the internship. For some of us that are doing, maybe you are doing work online and you are an intern to the company, you see that sometimes they will pay you. Not even sometimes, most they are paying, and you have more responsibilities to do. An example is a mass communication student working at a radio station in Lagos for 3 months.
Recording in progress.
As an example for this, you are working there. They didn't say you are there for your IT, but you are working there for just 3 months. No, you are going to be given more responsibility, because they believe, although you are going to go through training, but they still believe they've taught you what to do. So let's look at the difference between practicum and internship. For the practicum, we have short period, while for the internship, longer period. There's under the practicum observation base. You are going to be observed. While for the internship, it is work based, more responsibility for you to handle. Under the practicum, you have limited tasks because they believe you are just there to be observed. You are just there for training. So you are going to be given limited tasks. But for the internship, you'll be given full responsibility, except if they see that you cannot cope with them. For the practicum, mostly unpaid, while for the internship, maybe paid. And for the practicum, we have academic training focus. They're going to be trained based on academic level. But for the internship, you are going to be given a professional work experience, because from that internship they can permanent you, they can actually retain you. But for the practicum, they cannot retain you because they know you still have to go back to school to make some reports. You still have another semester to use. So you're going to be trained based on academic. So these are the difference between practicum and internship. So let's go to the next one, which is COS. So this is a very common one to every student in the school. COS or IT. We call it IT, we call it COS. So what is the meaning of COS? COS means Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. That is the meaning of COS. Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. So under this COS, it is organized by what? The Industrial Training Fund. I don't know if any of us have seen this ITF office before. So they are the one that organize COS. So this Student Industrial Work Experience scheme is being organized by the ITF, and ITF means Industrial Training Fund. So it helps Nigerian students to gain industrial experience before graduation. So this COS and IT helps Nigerian students so that we can be able to gain industrial experience before graduation. Every institution actually go through COS. They go through COS, they go through IT. So let's look at the objectives of COS. So COS helps students to what? First one, you gain practical skills. You gain the practical skills. Like the example I made, I used computer science as an example. I said if you are a computer science student, or you are a cybersecurity student, or information technology student, and you want to go for your COS or your IT, you will look for an organization that is relating, that is connected to your course. Let's say you go and work in a company or in an organization as an IT. You are going there for your COS, but they actually appoint you to be among their IT staffs so that you can do your IT there. From there you'll be able to learn, you'll be able to see what the IT workers are doing. Maybe they are doing a front end development, maybe they are the ones that are operating the computers, maybe they are the ones that are actually taking care and maintaining the computer system. You are going to learn from them, you are gaining the practical skills from them. So that is the objective of this COS. Then number 2, understand workplace culture. Maybe you have not worked before, or you have not been in a working environment before. You're going in an organization or a company to work. You'll be able to understand how a workplace is, the kind of culture that needs to be created in a working place. You will learn, you will observe, you will understand it. Then the third one is apply classroom knowledge. So this is another objective of COS. You'll be able to apply your classroom knowledge. It's just like you have been watching how to punch on your phone, maybe you're learning boxing with your phone using YouTube to learn, but you have never punched anybody before. So the first thing you're going to apply what you've been learning is the same thing as this COS. You have been reading the theory, you have been reading on how to open a website, how to open a Microsoft Word, how to do this, how to do that. So you'll be able to apply your classroom knowledge when you get to the organization, when you get to the company. Then number 4, learn use of machine and equipment. Learn use of machines and equipment. So let's say the organization you are taking your COS, they have machines, maybe they have supercomputers. There you can learn how to use them. Maybe they have workstation. There you can learn how to operate them, how to make use of them. So those are objectives of COS. Then the last one, which is prepare for future job. At the same time you are still trying to prepare yourself for future job, how to cope with the stress, how to cope with the pressure, how to cope with work with the working place culture, and how to apply your classroom knowledge. So everything together. So those are the objectives of COS. And so let's look at the examples of this COS. For a computer science student now, work in an ICT company learning. You want to do your COS, you go to a company, an ICT company, to learn. Maybe you went there to learn what? You choose networking department, you can choose programming department, you can choose system maintenance department, anyone. Maybe an accounting student, he works in a bank learning. You're there to do a record keeping, you're there to do an auditing, you're there to do a financial report. And maybe you want to work in the government sector, maybe you want to work in Alausa for an example. Now the COS, as an IT student, they have their ministry for this IT, CWS, then PSO. They used to call it all these public service offices. That is where they will put you to learn. So that is for that. And let's look at the duration of CWS. It is usually 24 weeks, which is 6 months. So which means you have to be going to the company, to be going to the office for 6 months. Although you can actually bargain with them that maybe three days in a week, maybe 4 days in a week, maybe 2 times in a week, depending on the company. But it is usually 24 weeks, which is 6 months, and sometimes longer for engineering students. Yeah, but we don't have engineering in our school, so every student is expected to use 24 weeks, which is 6 months for your CWS or for your IT. So I said the meaning of CWS is Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. So let's look at the responsibility during CWS. Responsibility during CWS. So you as a student, you must attend orientation. These are your responsibilities. What you must do: you must obey company rules. Then you must keep logbook. There's a logbook that the school used to give students if you want to go for your CWS. You must keep that logbook. You must fill it according to your weekdays. What you do on Monday, what you do on Tuesday, what you do on Wednesday. Everything must be intact up to the 24 weeks. Then you must submit a report. These are your responsibilities. Then the responsibility of institution must provide a supervisor. Yeah, National Open University used to do that. They will send a supervisor to where you are doing your project and to where you are doing your CWS to come and check you. Then they visit students and they do the grade performance. After you have submitted your logbook and your report, they will grade you. Then responsibility of the companies. The companies must train students. They must train the students. They must supervise students. And they must assess the students. You are there for a training. So they must train you. At the same time, while training you, they must supervise you so that you will not do the wrong thing. And when you do the wrong thing, they will be able to correct you. Then they should be able to assess the student, like do a self-assessment, test you, give you a simple explanation, give you a simple examination rather. Then let's go to the CWS report. Yeah, after the logbook, a CWS report must be done. You must do a CWS report that must be submitted, yeah, along line with your logbook. So there's a format for that. A CWS report must contain a title page. It must contain abstract, acknowledgement, introduction, main body, conclusion, reference, and appendix. So this is how to write a CWS report. And examples of CWS activities: a student attached to MTN Nigeria they may assist customers, they may learn customer care service, customer care system, they may observe network operation, they may use office software. This is just an example of CWS activity. What you'll be doing in your company while you are doing your CWS. Maybe you are attached to an MTN Nigeria company now. You can assist customers there. You can learn customer care systems there. You can observe network operations there. You can use their office software also. So that is just an example of what you are going to be doing in your CWS. Maybe you are CWS, you are doing this in an hospital. You attend to patients. Yeah, you follow the doctors or the nurses to do little things they are doing. You observe how it works. Yeah, you learn. These are just the CWS activities of what you do. So let's continue. So let's look at the common problems students face during CWS in Nigeria. So these are the common problems that students face during CWS in Nigeria. Yeah, difficult getting placement. Yeah, it might be difficult for you before you get a company to work. It might be difficult for you before you get a company to make use of your experience. Then lack of transportation money sometimes. They are not paying you. Majority of all these things, they are not going to pay you. So they are not going to pay you. So it might be difficult for you to get transportation money. Let's say you go the first week, second week, third week. And poor supervision. There might be poor supervision. Then unfriendly work environment. At the same time, there might be an unfriendly work environment. Yes, so there might be an unfriendly work environment. Then there might be delay in ITF allowance payments. So the payment that you're supposed to be getting, there might be delay. Yeah, there might be delay in them. For an example, there might be delay in them. So let's look at seminar assessment. Seminar assessment. Let's look at the seminar assessment. Under the seminar assessment, students present research work before assessors. This is where you do your seminar. This one you have to go through a presentation. So as a student, you present your research work before the assessors, before your HOD, before the external supervisors. You present your seminars to them. Your classmates are going to be there, and you have to dress. You have to dress well. Maybe you want to use suit and tie. You must dress corporate. So you as a student, you present your research work before the assessors there. And let's look at the seminar assessment. Quality of report, your confidence, your communication skills, your knowledge of topics, ability to answer questions. All of this matters in your seminar presentation. You must have a good communication skills, and your confidence. Yeah, your confidence must actually be sharp. You're talking to a large crowd of people, or of students rather. Your classmates, you might not see. There are some people that you have not seen before that are there. So which means you have to be confident. Some people might be able to react very well in their room, and once they come outside there to talk to people, they become shy. Their voice starts to break, even though they know what they want to say. So you must be confident. You must develop a good communication skills, and you must have the knowledge about the topic you are going to be presenting. Have the knowledge about it, and ability to answer questions, because the assessors are going to be throwing you questions from what you are saying. Let's say you are talking about database management system. Maybe you say something like relatable database management system. They might ask you that, what is the meaning of that relatable, or where did you get it from? So you're able to answer those questions, will actually give you mark. An example is a public administrator student. A public administration student may present corruption and public service delivery in Nigeria. So you are there to present this seminar question now. You are there to present this seminar example, this seminar topic now about corruption and public service delivery in Nigeria. You're talking about them that, yeah, corruption and public service delivery in Nigeria is very much, is this, is that. They might ask you that, yeah, what is corruption all about? Or how do this public service delivery, how do we get to solve them? So these are questions you need to be able to answer well. Then number 9, we have teaching practice. Teaching practice also is a non-examinable course. This is for the educational students. The teaching practice. Starting from their 200 level, we start to go for teaching practice. So teaching practice is mainly for education students. And under this teaching practice, students teach in real schools for about 6 weeks. So you need to go to school, look for a real school where you will teach for 6 weeks. Supervisors will visit the school to assess them. Supervisors will come to the school to check you. For those, you might come maybe the 3rd week, maybe the 4th week, maybe the 6th week. But a supervisor must surely come to visit, to check maybe you are there, to check what you are doing, to check if you are learning well. So that is for the teaching practice. So, an example of this, a chemistry student may carry out acid-base titration exam. The report must clearly explain material use, color changes observed, final result. So when making use of this teaching practice, you are teaching. You might be teaching the junior section, you might be teaching the senior section, you might be teaching the primary section. But the main thing is you must be able to teach them what it is useful for them. What is useful for them, at least you are learning. It is called teaching practice, which means you are practicing your teaching skills, and at the same time you are learning. You are gaining more. You are gaining the confidence. You are gaining the communication skills. You are gaining the mind to face them and nurture them to what you want, and teach them how to connect the academics to the real life. So that's for that. So let's look at the importance of non-examinable courses. What are the importance of these non-examinable courses that we have been talking about? So these courses develop practical skills. These non-examinable courses will help you to develop practical skills. Imagine you going for COS for 6 months and you are learning about computer, or you are able to make use of the classroom knowledge that you have. You are able to make use of them. Then it improves confidence. You are working in a working space. It's going to boost your confidence. You'll be able to relate with people that are older than you, people in higher positions. Maybe you are going from meetings to meetings, meeting people, trying to tell them, yeah, this is what it is, this is what you need to do to get this. It boosts your confidence. Maybe you are going for teaching practice. You'll be able to face the children, tell them, explain yourself. It improves your confidence. Another one, it prepares students for employment. You going for the COS now, you are able to see how it works. You are able to see the importance of being employed. You are able to see the responsibility you are taking, the kind of impact you need to bring to the company, to bring to the organization. So it prepares you as a student for employment. And at the same time, it connects theory with practice. Yeah, you are going there with a classroom experience. You are going there with your classroom knowledge. And when you get there, you need to apply it to what you need to be able to get the practical skills done. You have been learning how to sew clothes, as an example, using your YouTube. You have not done it, you have not practicalized it before. The first day they give you a machine, everything you've learned on the YouTube, you are going to be able to practice them. So same thing applicable. So you'll be able to connect your theory with practice. Then improve communication and teamwork. So it also improves communication and teamwork. So it helps to improve communication, it helps to improve teamwork. So that is under the importance of non-examinable courses. So let's look at the summarization of everything we've discussed about. So for the non-examinable courses, they are practical courses assessed outside normal examination. So these are practical courses that are assessed outside normal examination, and they include what? The research project, the COS, the practicum, the seminars, the teaching practice, the science practicals. And I said under this research project, research projects are divided into 5 chapters. From the introduction down to the summary, conclusion, and recommendation. And these 5 chapters are assessed based on quality and organization. And this research project, they are being assessed based on what? On quality and organization. Which means if your research project is not having a good quality, it's not going to be assessed well. So COS and practicum help students to gain work experience, while teaching practice help education students to develop teaching skills. Proper report, supervision, and participation are necessary for success in these courses. So under these non-examinable courses like COS, practicum, you gain your working experience. You are going to an organization to work. While for the teaching practice, you do what? It helps education students to develop a teaching skills. While at the end of everything, a proper report must be made, so that they'll be able to grade you, that your faculty will be able to grade you based on everything you've done, and you're going to make a very huge success on that if you do it well. So that is on this non-examinable courses. So I believe, yeah, we all understand what I mean by this non-examinable courses. Although it is not something we are going to do now or do next semester, but it is just for us to prepare our mind. Some of us are already doing it, but the ones we are doing, it is test that is not having. They are all having exam, but they are not having test. But this one we are talking about now, it has no test, it has no exam. So that is for the non-examinable courses. So for me to believe that, yeah, we are all connected with this, I have some questions to ask us, and I want us to be able to, at least let's communicate and make it an interactive class. So let's go to my practice questions. Sorry. So let's go to my practice question. So for the first one, I want to ask us that, yeah, we can explain 5 components of chapter 1 of a research project. Under the chapter 1, I said they have content that are there. I think I listed like 7 for us. So who can just remind us? Yeah, 5 of them. If you want to answer, just click on raised hand so that we see that you are raising up and I can call you. So who can just talk about this component of chapter 1, the content that are under chapter 1, content that are there. For an example, under chapter 2, I said we have concepts, we have theories. So under chapter 1 too, I listed some for us, like 7. There's nobody that remember. Okay, so if there's nobody to answer us here, maybe I'm going to make it an assignment for us. You are, you are, you are going to watch the pre-recording. You are going to watch the recording class. It's already past our time. So the recording class are going to watch them. Uh, uh, okay. Yeah, the chapter 1 is introduction. I agree. But under this chapter 1, I listed some other content under them. I listed like 7 that you need to do, that you need to solve for before you proceed to chapter 2. If you can remember. Amarashi, sorry, Divine. You were raising up your hand then. Divine, can you hear me? Alright. Oluwadamilola. Yeah, ma'am. Good evening. Okay. Yeah, not going to study.
So this actually explains the topic generally. For instance, maybe student wanted to talk about, can I use the same example?
Yeah, you can use the same example. You can use the same example.
A student discussing about what employment. So for a student that wants to discuss about employment in his research project, in his own research project, the person must actually explain how it is affecting the Nigerian youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, then number 2, another one that I remember is research questions slash hypothesis.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
So research questions slash hypothesis. This is actually a question that the researcher is meant to answer, like the researcher aims to answer the question. Something like, okay, for instance, let me try to find an example. Say, okay, how does social media influence the children parenting? You understand? Let's try to do something outside
Yes.
perspective. So,
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your own opinion. Okay, for your answer rather. So, is there anybody else that can help with that? Okay. So you're able to give us two. So let's go to question 2. Let's go to question 2. It says differentiate between practicum and internship. Using the Nigeria example that we're going to understand. So you can do that. You can differentiate between practicum and internship. Alright, Mr. John.
Alright, so I can still remember practicum is one short for
Okay. So Mr. John, thank you very much. Alright. Okay, that's true. Alright. Oluwa, Mr. John, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for your contribution. Oluwa Damilola. Yeah. Yes, that's true. So those are the two. Yeah, okay, that's the two you can remember. Yeah. So those are the difference between internship and practicum. So I said, for an internship, it is a longer period, while for a practicum, it is a shorter period. Yeah. Then for the practicum now, you are going to be trained based on academic settings. While for the internship, it is a professional work experience because you need to learn. So that's for that. So let's go to the objective question that I have and fill in the gap before we end the class. So let's look at the question 1. So CWES means dash. What's the meaning of CWES? Let's look at the options that are there. What's our answer? Oh yeah, Mr. John. Yeah.
I think that's
A. So CWES means Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. So that's correct. That's the meaning of CWES. Please let's take note of that. Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. So number 2. Which chapter contains literature review? Which of the chapter contains literature review? Alright, Mr. John.
chapter 2.
Yes, chapter 2. So chapter 2 contains the literature review.
I joined late. I didn't make chapter 1.
Okay, you didn't make chapter 1. Alright, yeah, I'm going to watch it from the recording. So, number 3. Teaching practice is mainly for students in the faculty of dash. Yeah, faculty of education. So they are the ones that are into teaching practice. Right, number 4. A practicum mainly focuses on dash. What does it focuses on?
Observation and supervised practice.
Yeah, practicum focuses on the observation and supervised practice. Please, this video is going to go off very, like, let's say less than 1 minute. So let's try to join back instantly so that we can finish our question before we go. So number 5. Which of the following is included in a practical report? Which is
Observation.
Yeah, the observation must be involved. It must be included in a practical report. It is very important. So let's go to the fill in the gap section. There are 5 questions here also. So CWES is organized by the dash. Who are the people that organize CWES? Industrial. You need to complete this. It's not just industrial. Yeah, Industrial Training Fund, also known as ITF. Industrial Training Fund. So they are the ones that organize CWES. So number 2, chapter 3. So we are in question 3. We are in question 3. So teaching practice usually lasts for about dash weeks. How many weeks does teaching practice last for?
6 weeks.
Yes, 6 weeks. Teaching practice lasts for 6 weeks. So teaching practice lasts for 6 weeks. So number 4, a practicum Number 4, a practicum allows students to gain dash experience. Is that correct? The word is practicum is basically, thank you, practical experience, because you're actually going there to practice. You are not going there for education. You are going there to practice. You are going there to be observed, to actually practicalize your skills. So a So let's go to question 5. Science practical report must contain dash and conclusion rather. Science practical report must contain dash and conclusion. Science practical report must contain dash. Science practical report must contain dash and conclusion. Who can help us with that? Not summary, but something like, you're trying to monitor something. You're trying to pour in something. So science practical report must contain. I don't want to say the answer, but I'm just trying to give an hint. When you're putting I. What did you say? Yeah, observation. So science practical report must contain observation and conclusion. So this is just an example of how the exam is going to be set. So, and it just required a simple term. You don't have to write a long note. You don't have to start saying this or that. Just a simple word is enough. Sometimes it might be two. And you must be careful with how you type. You must check your spellings very well. In this place now, there's no place we are supposed to use capital letter. Apart from, okay, COS is organized by the ITF. That is only where you are required to use capital letter. Maybe you want to write, and if you want to write the ITF, write it in full. Industrial Training Fund. The I, industrial, I will be in capital letter. The T for the training, capital letter. The fund, the F, capital letter. The rest are going to start. The rest are going to start with small letter.
I thought chapter 3 section 2 answer is supposed to start with capital letter.
It is not going to start with capital letter because there is no question mark there. It's only full stop. So that is why it's going to be small letter. Any ones that has question mark will start with capital letter. Any ones that has small letter, that has full stop, will start with small letter. They are still small letters. So name of person, name of place, name of animal, or anything that starts first must be in capital letter. The first letter must be in capital letter. Then any statement that ends with question mark must have a capital letter. Then if you are given true or false, let's say this and that is connected, true or false. If they should write that true or false for you in small letter, return the answer back to them in small letter. If they should write it for you in capital letter or true, return it back to them in capital letter or true. So majority of all these things that we are doing is not as if we don't know them, but it's because of these little mistakes. And it's a computer based assessment. It's not as if it's human being that's going to mark it. I'll be like, yes, you are still saying the same thing. But this one, what has been programmed on it, that is what you are getting. So that is why we must be careful. So that is for this unit. By 9 o'clock we are going to be doing another class which is on GST 105. So let's try as much as possible to prepare our mind and prepare ourselves. So yeah, I really appreciate every one of us for joining us tonight. Thank you. Yeah. What did he say? Yeah, a recording is going to be dropped. You will watch it there. Alright. So let's have a wonderful night rest. Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night.